Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Rick and Morty Season 4, Episode 2, The Old Man in the Seat, turns potty humor into a sad reflection on loneliness, which is essentially what every bathroom visit becomes for me. Once again, this episode is filled with clever animation jokes and Easter eggs that you might have overlooked. So let's sift through the turds to analyze the subtler details, and a reminder to subscribe to our Rick'splained podcast feed for early audio versions of this episode, and my analysis of the deeper, darker truth of each episode that might be as many things this episode are a crock of shit. Like last episode, 402 opens at a breakfast, maybe a routine for a season that promised to restore the series to its each episode a standalone adventure that season 1 was, and now those adventures could all begin with the same origin point at the breakfast table. We meet Gluty, Rick's intern voiced by director Taika Waititi. He's part of a race called the Monogatrons, monogamous water seekers who trick species into developing chaotic dating apps that take over their societies. Rick has to use an intern because, remember, he's no longer allowed to simply rope Morty into all of his adventures and tasks. And Gluty's name might be a nod to Gluteus Maximus, your butt muscle, a nod to Gluty's often exposed ass, and really the overall poop joke of this episode. Rick says he's headed on a solo adventure, one not directed by Ron Howard, a nod to Solo, a Star Wars story, but really he's a shy pooper on his way to a private toilet planet. This is the inspiration for this episode's title, The Old Man in the Seat, a riff on Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man in the Sea, which centers around a lonely old fisherman who battles with an elusive marlin, much like how Rick battles with his elusive toilet stealer, Tony, this episode. This actually makes the second Hemingway reference in the series, following Rick Potion number 9, which is also an episode about chaotic romantic hookups.
I wish that shotgun was my penis.
If it were, you could call me Ernest Hemingway.
Hemingway suicide joke, so dark, so funny. Rick's toilet planet is a custom-designed utopia. He blissfully brushes his hands over the tall grass, a nod to Ridley Scott's shot of Maximus returning to his heavenly home in Gladiator. The design of this planet seems based partly on Pandora, an avatar with luminescent vegetation and floating rock islands. There's also this giant crystal on the horizon. On this week's episode of Rick'splained, I speculated how 402 might have been masking the darker mystery of Rick's ex-wife, Diane. And we theorized how this planet could have been Rick and Diane's honeymoon location. Maybe that crystal is a diamond from Rick's engagement ring to Diane. Check out Rick'splained and keep an open mind, because I'll admit it's a bit of a reach. Rick investigates a broken twig to sleuth out the intruder. One of the fauna options is this sloth-like creature, which reminds me a lot of the prehistoric sloth that shrugs at Homer in the Treehouse of Horror episode.
But that was just one little insignificant mosquito. That can't change the future, right? Right?
Another possible cause is this falling fruit. Maybe I'm reading into it, but it could be a meta nod by the writers to the whole low-hanging fruit aspect of this toilet humor joke episode. But it's something that the episode handles in a really, really smart way. Rick makes a guttural call to summon an antlered creature cyborg. It opens up a subterranean lab in a tree trunk. I love how Rick's supercomputer uses a Linux operating system, because why would he need anything else? He uses the computer to analyze the intruder's stool, reversing the digestion to discover its original sandwich form.
Time to meet your maker.
That maker got that sandwich from a frog restaurant in the Gorgon quadrant. Gorgons have actually come up before on the show in the ABC's A Beth episode by Kiara's ex-boyfriend Trandor.
Nests spread across 300 galaxies. And you just happen to pick this planet to hunt? That's Gorgon shit. Total Gorgon shit.
Rick heads into the frog restaurant back room where it's operated by a fly mobster named Vermeer Gerber. He references being a fly in charge of a frog gang, which feels like a backstory similar to De Niro or Liotta's characters in Goodfellas, half non-Italian mobsters rising high in an Italian gang. But their sandwich delivery guy is fighting in a robot war with the Crockybots, one of whom we saw in the Vindicators episode last season. Rick appears to the robots in a funnel hat that has a QR code on it. Actually, if you scan this QR code, it actually takes you to the Rick and Morty fan site shop where you can buy this thing. Pretty clever marketing there, but you know, it is just a funnel. It doesn't even have the handle like it does in the episode, so don't buy this. The delivery body's looking for wrote ANCE over his function of delivery to make it deliverance. And when he gets shot, they animated the inside of his head with red gears to make it look like blood. I also just love the animation on Rick slaughtering the Crockybots. He curb stomps the first one, he impales the second, he draws and quarters the third with cords, with its skeleton tearing away from its skin. The Crockybot leader has an Australian accent.
I scoping for this bit then?
Which makes sense because saltwater crocodiles are native to Australia. Rick uses a body shield, fries them all with a Cyclops-style optic blast, turning the tide of this battle. So robots are victorious. We'll see if this causes a lasting effect on the universe, since Crockybots were totally going to win this. From here, Rick tracks down the toilet thief, Tony, voiced by Jeffrey Wright from Westworld.
Can I look at a photo of my wife while you kill me?
Sure, but I'm doing her a favor. She either has terrible taste or she's trapped in a marriage to a toilet thief.
She's dead. I don't mind joining her. Life has been hollow since I lost her.
Rick tells Tony not to use his dead wife as an excuse and leaves him with a fart bomb that squeezes out a middle finger of poo. While all of this is going on, the B story centers around GLADI's Love Finder app, 2 R's and a Z. Jerry's office contains a few Easter eggs, his Titanic poster from his experience in the season 1 episode, and a golfing poster nodding to Jerry's golfing in the Meeseeks episode. Before I point out another possible Easter egg, a quick message from this episode's sponsor, which I shot when I was wearing a different shirt, so just deal with it. Thank you to the sponsor of this episode, Cats, the mobile game where CATS stands for Crash Arena Turbo Stars, but also for cats, the furry creatures that drive your customized destruction machines. Hey, we trust them to play with our twine. Why not trust them to pilot armored vehicles with buzzsaws? Build your battle car with the wide selection of weapons and chassis available in the game. You can even customize your cat driver appearance by putting on different outfits and hats. Cats for your cats. The physics in Cats are fun and unpredictable. Every 2 weeks, you can participate in a new game mode called the All-Stars competition that features modified arenas and different battle conditions like burning ground and low gravity. Make sure to get the game now using the link in the description below and enjoy a very cool collaboration between Cats and toy brand Hot Wheels. By participating in the challenge, you can collect iconic Hot Wheels cars. The game is available for iOS and Android via link in the description. Download the game using this link and get extra rewards that will boost your progress. Thanks again to Cats for supporting this episode. Again, both the mobile game and the animals, who are some of our biggest fans because of my milky complexion. Okay, back to this episode and back in the shirt. Also in this room is a baseball, and hey, maybe it's just a baseball. But last episode showed the sports bar with a Smith baseball jersey on the wall, and later this episode, Jerry's dumb plans feature a drawing of a baseball bat, so I don't know, maybe they're setting something up. Jerry's equally dumb alternative names for the app are Ooh La Love, Cupitor, of course Love Finders, and Meat Lovers, and Who Gots to Love. Summer uses this app at the mall food court, connecting to new temporary soulmate, Danny. She and Beth eat beside restaurants with names like Chick Belly, Flams, and Tofung, maybe like Tofungus, kind of like the gross gunk that Summer's future lover picks off her foot on the plane. Never take your shoes off on a plane, just don't do it. Summer and Danny check into a motel. If you look closely, the business card on the counter reads Blue Ball Motels, manager Harry Leibovitz. I wasn't able to find out who Harry Leibovitz is in reference to, but Blue Ball Motels kind of reflects how these relationships get broken off before they go anywhere, and how Beth here tries to blue ball them. She and Summer scream over each other, assault and rape. This could be kind of a nod to that dark truth that they tell women to just yell fire when they're being assaulted or raped, because sadly, that's more likely to get attention. Beth leaves Danny for a new partner, Jeff, crashing his wedding at the Sistine Chapel, like the one in the Vatican, but spelled like the gross skin outgrowth. The priest's name is Priest Witherspoon. Love it. And a series of wedding crashers plays out like a rom-com parody like The Graduate and Jerry Maguire.
You had me at my own name.
Beth tries to stop it with a hang glider, similar to the hang glider Rick used during his orgy with Unity, and she crash lands in a barn, leading to my favorite line of the episode.
What in the hell are you doing?
Parenting.
That's not how I did it.
Yeah, where's your daughter?
You're right. She joined ISIS.
GLADI takes Morty and Jerry to the Monogatron mothership, where his leader is voiced by another New Zealander and Taika Waititi collaborator, Sam Neill, the wife played by Kathleen Turner.
You will now witness the true power of superior intimacy.
With this line in the dark hood and the throne, he's obviously a take on the Emperor from Star Wars.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Jerry pitches his plan to Morty, which includes an X through Rick's face and a drawing of his portal gun, but they're never able to do this plan. GLADI frees them from the cell after Jerry points out how unmatchable they both are.
Got a date? We're dumping a dating app.
Was that ever his thing?
No.
He never exited that way.
No, first time.
While Rick deletes Tony from his server, the music here is A Boogie with the Hoodie's My Shit, but Tony returns, leading Rick to operate a giant mecha version of himself to punish Tony. But just like Susan Sarandon's therapist character in the Pickle Rick episode, the soothing voice of Jeffrey Wright has an introspective monologue in store for Rick 2.
You need someone to give you permission to live. You know what shy pooping is, Rick? It's a pointless bid for control. You want to take the one part of life that you truly think is yours, and you want to protect it from a universe that takes whatever it wants. It took my wife. It clearly took something from you.
But Rick sits on him, seeming to crush him, but not sending him to toilet heaven really. He's just inserting Tony inside this mecha structure, encasing him in a sack filled with globofin, a fluid that projects your idealized dream, kind of like the reddish pink goo of the pods in the Matrix, suspending all those people in an alternate reality. In this case, Tony's dream is a toilet heaven, almost an opposite of the giant butt fart dimension that we've seen before. His wife is voiced by Pamela Adlon, who also voiced Bobby Hill on King of the Hill. There are other people from Rick's life that he has encased in those sacks, but for my theory on one of them, check out Rick'splain this week. Rick sets a trap on his toilet, tries to lure Tony back with fiber chili and sugar-free chocolates that will make him have to poop, but Tony's coworker says that he died skiing down Space Everest.
Oh, no, you don't want to eat that. You'll become the opening of the Beverly Hillbillies. You know what I'm saying? Little bubbling crude Texas tea.
I don't know these references.
Yeah, but you have a Space Everest. Watch Space Beverly Hillbillies so my jokes can land.
Rick's referring to the geysers of oil in the opening of Beverly Hillbillies. This is likely a pitch by Dan Harmon, and the younger writers on staff just didn't get the reference immediately. Beth and Summer duel at the airport, and Love Finder starts using an ad wall, leading to everyone deleting the app. One of the ads is for the game Tower Offender, which, I don't know, if your mind's in the gutter like mine is, it's kind of another blue balls joke. There's also a disinfectant that kills only 87.9% of germs, and after hugging it out with Jerry, we learn that Beth's Love Finder's partner is Ted Danson. At Tony's funeral, Rick gives Tony's dad a ton of money and a cloning machine in case he wanted to make a new clone of his son, calling back the cloning device that Rick used with Beth in the ABCs of Beth episode. And the final scene back on the toilet planet, now storm clouds have gathered, reflecting how this place has transitioned from a sunny utopia to a tragic, lonely place. Now Rick pees over the cliff because this toilet is no longer for him to do his business. It's a throne upon which to sit and punish himself for being isolated with no companions. The old man and the sea. And real quick, the post-credit scene shows Jerry looking in the fridge and finding globofin, showing his pathetic dream scenario of simply having a job and feeling useful for a change, delivering mountain sweat water. And if you look closely in the fridge, beside a moldy avocado, there's that Pass the Butter robot that Rick built in the past episode.
Oh my god.
And a carton of milk with a missing kids photo on the side. That is Morty's bully from the previous episode, whom Morty elevated into the sky.
Oh, the air's getting thin.
Do you think Rick will ever find companionship? Comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss, and follow new Rockstars on socials, and subscribe to our Rick'splain podcast feed. We're getting closer to ranking in the top 10 of TV and film on Apple Podcasts. Come on, help us beat Ellen. Thank you for joining me. See you next week. And if this episode smells like shit, it might also be because I'm shooting this in front of a giant porta potty.